Black roses in my garden. 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 To keep on caring, you got to water it. Got to keep the earth so cool, yeah. Cause something special is in my body. Black roses in my garden. 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 Show you got to water it, water it. You got to do the best you can do it. Cause no other garden is so special like this. Oh yeah. Black roses in my garden. Black roses, I've got to water it. My garden is so nice. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Something special, special in my garden. Black roses in my garden. Show, I've got to stay and take good care of the roses. Golden seed, that's so special to me. My garden is so special, yeah. Black roses, it do me in my
no girl can see them.
All right, peace and blessings. This is Jason Thickman, and we are here for another episode of Make Technology Work for You Wednesdays. This is episode 6. I want to first apologize for not recording last week. I definitely wanted to and got held up. We took some of our high school students to a HBCU tour, which was eventful, I will say. We had a great time. We only got to see 2 out of the 3 schools, but the kids, for the most part, I believe the students, for the most part, enjoyed themselves and had a great time. I also got a chance to take my oldest child, and she got a chance to see what a college campus looks like, as well as get a very quick view of the African American Museum for Culture and, let's get it right, the National Museum of African American History and Culture is where we had a chance to stop off, and it was a great experience. I would advise all folks who are interested in history as it pertains to the United States to visit this museum. Of course, folks of African descent should definitely go, but I think that goes without saying, even though I mentioned it. But I believe if you are interested in the history of the United States and how people of African descent who have been pegged or categorized as African Americans in this country and their contribution to it is a great place to go. I am definitely going to make another visit, if not multiple visits. The goal is to spend an entire day there examining the entire museum and getting a chance to see everything it has to offer. We were on a time crunch, so we were only able to stay for about an hour, which means we only got to see a portion, I would say 75 to 80% of one floor, which was still a great experience. and something that lends to where we have come as far as not just being able to tell stories through technology and through visual content, but ultimately the courage that it takes to be a part of modern day stories. With that being said, for those that don't know, I am the lead IT advisor at Just Right Technology, which is a IT consultant firm located in the Bronx, New York. We deal with entrepreneurs and small business owners on a regular basis. We also spend time in the education space. I am myself an educator, and it's a great opportunity. You know, it's 2019. We're talking about all the things that we can do around attracting success and goal completion to ourselves using technology, right? And so I would be remiss if I did not myself take the opportunity to show you a case in point where that makes the most sense, right? You know, an example that I would give, or the topic that I would give in terms of what we're dealing with, has to do with attention, right? That's the name of today's topic, is attention. How we grab attention, how we seek attention, especially from a business perspective. And I want to just very quickly touch on three things, and then I'm going to go into more or less my attention grabbing task or goal, if you will. The first thing I want to touch on is a phrase that we've heard time and time again, which is essentially being loud and clear. Can you be loud and clear? Can you speak loudly and clearly? I want to hack that, if you will. And we're going to essentially say, instead of being loud and clear, let's talk about loud versus clear. Loud versus clear suggests that just to raise the volume, just to speak so that you grab people's attention or that you command attention, doesn't necessarily mean it's clear. At times, it can be very alarming to just grab people's attention, especially when they're in the mode of not wanting to have their attention grabbed. And so it's important that above volume, above grabbing people's attention, using volume, that your message is clear, that you're able to very concretely display or essentially omit your message very clearly. An example of that is if you wanted to command the attention of a room. Today's, atmosphere, you're not just dealing with people's short attention span, whether they're reading a book or whether they're watching something in a nearby television or just listening to something via a radio or a Walkman, for instance. This obviously dates 15 years ago. But today, people are essentially so spaced out and so zoned into whatever it is they're doing, whether that is playing a game on their mobile phone, whether that is having a conversation via video chat on their cell phone, or reading an article, listening to audiobooks. There are so many different forms of media today that you're competing against in order to grab people's attention. And you have to recognize that you can't just scream or shock someone into recognizing, hey, I'm here and I'm talking to you. You have to have a very covert, very classy way of grabbing someone's attention. This is, of course, where technology plays in, right? As a business owner, what kind of avenues are you taking at grabbing people's attention on these devices that they carry with them all day? What are you doing to connect your online approach to your offline approach? So that if someone, for instance, if you're making videos like I am and someone sees you in the street, what are you now doing to link the two? What are you doing to say, essentially, let me give you a sneak peek at what working with me looks like, not just via video, but also in person if you actually see me. These are things to pay attention to, right? So the clarity in your message, right? It should be as clear online as it is offline, making sure that the message that people can receive doesn't get confused and they ask the wrong questions, so that you don't spend time or waste time, I would say, dealing with things that have nothing to do with your business. So for instance, I want to make it clear, I want to grab people's attention that what I do as an IT advisor is I assist the business community at the comprehension, the development, and ultimately the execution of technology-related functions. In layman terms, what that might mean is when a business or an entrepreneur is struggling at adapting a piece of technology into their business, I come in for a limited time and offer my assistance, not only in executing, but increasing their comprehension around that piece of technology so that when our relationship or when our business ends, they can continue along that course in a very successful manner. It is challenging, especially around some of the spaces that people don't necessarily want to learn anything in. Things like design, things like web. People aren't necessarily interested in improving their own skills. But what I typically do is I challenge entrepreneurs and I challenge small business owners with the idea that whatever your skill set is, whatever your area of business, your industry of focus is, you are going to, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, going to have to learn some marketing. You're going to have to learn some sales. You're going to also have to learn some accounting. These are things that, of course, we all, in a very achievement-oriented perspective, would love to just be able to pay somebody else for, right? If you have the bandwidth, or if your company has scaled greatly, or you have the capital, great. By all means, ensure that you have professionals who can spend the time and the attention and actually delving into these aspects of your business. But as a business owner or as an entrepreneur, to suggest that one doesn't need to know anything around these realms of business, I think is very irrational and could very possibly lead to your demise, if you will, of your business. And I make that same suggestion around technology, right? You want to learn how technology can work for you and how it can benefit your business, which is what my mantra has been, what my advice has been for many, many years, and I will continue to say that. It is a tool, technology is, and so it's important that you use it as a tool. It's important that you recognize where the balances are in your approach and how you can shift it slightly to make improvements. Now, one thing I will say before we move on to the next topic or the next portion, clarity can have volume. It should not be so quiet and so insignificant that no one hears it. But it also shouldn't be so loud that people are disrupted by it, that they feel like it was a distraction to whatever they were focused on. So yeah, take that, focus on being clear versus loud, not being loud and clear. The next point is faith, right? A lot of people, I believe, have sort of a mild introvert spirit if you're in the entrepreneurial space. I don't think the loudest people are the bulk of entrepreneurs in the world, and for different reasons. And with that being said, I feel like you have to walk with faith. You have to believe wholeheartedly in your business service and your approach and what it is that you're doing. And once you have that faith, it gives you the confidence to be clear and to speak to certain points, right? And so ensure that you're doing your research, you're developing your skills, you're building your brand, and ultimately keep attacking the market, and that will give you the faith you need to move forward. And last but not least, we definitely want to speak about results. How will you know what your results are if you don't actually go out here and make it happen? If you don't actually go out here and try different things, right? And so that's what I would suggest. Just trying as many things as possible, and that will definitely lead you. This next portion that I'm going to go into speaks about the attention that I'm trying to grab myself for my business. And if you want to talk more about what I spoke about already, or if you want to ask a question pertaining to technology and how it can work for you and your business, you can give me a call at 732-595-8849, and you will be spoken to and live on the air. We'll discuss whatever technology concerns you have, and we'll address it on air. But with that being said, what I would like to share with you guys is an article that was posted in reference to some of the work that I do around computer science. I'm excited about it for many different reasons, but mainly because it highlights an aspect of my life that typically goes unnoticed, which is my you know, it's a very small peek, but it's a peek into my path, right? I started my career out as a repair technician fixing computers. And the repair industry at the time was plentiful. It was something that was sought after and attractive because desktops led the market, right? Laptops were on the scene, but they were still only really being seen in organizations that had the budget for it, or folks themselves that had budgets for laptops. Many people still relied on the low cost of a desktop to be a part of the technology ecosphere. Certifications were moderately priced, but jobs were still effective. I was able to get a lot of decent contract temp jobs as a computer repair technician. But that led into many other opportunities, teaching being one of them. And teaching has now sort of cemented itself in my portfolio as something I am passionate about as far as computer science is concerned. And because of my unique experience in IT, I've had the opportunity to enter the education space with no credentials, because I'm offering insight into my skill set versus an academic approach. I have now had academic experience, and so that also helps in disseminating information and ultimately setting up lesson plans, curriculum, and having conversations around what a structured computer science lesson or conceptual thinking plan should be, right? And how it should be approached from not just from a teaching perspective, but what are our children cognitively ready for at which stage? These are things that can be opened up for discussion from someone in academia, but ultimately has to be analyzed and given more to by people from the industry. Because there are things around the industry that people who have not been in it and have not been a part of it still are not aware of. As an example of that, I recognized in my brief time in a formal education space teaching that formal typing, keyboarding had been taken off the table, which is huge. Although not many people use structured, not many people use structured keyboarding format or standards to type. It's still important that as a part of your computer science education, you learn the home keys, for instance. You learn what the comfortable way of sitting and typing looks like, even if you don't exactly adapt that style yourself. And to know that kids were being given access to computers and weren't being taught that basic lesson was pretty devastating to me. And so that's something that I don't believe somebody in academia would actually catch. I think they would feel like, well, we're giving them access and they're learning what, as a community, right? As a country, we're agreeing that they should learn, which is coding, right? Coding has been sort of propelled forward as the nuance, the thing that people must invest in and people must have an interest in. And I don't disagree with that point. What I do disagree with is how we do it. I don't think you should introduce kids to coding until you introduce them to computing. They have to understand the device that they're using, the power that it contains, and ultimately what direction they can go in, because coding is not the only direction that they can go in. So with that being said, that is why I really appreciate this article, because it does point a little bit out about that in my past. And, let me just share it, right? And so if you want to get in contact with me around any business related topics, the best place to reach me is via website. It is a Bitly account. It is bit.ly/Jason Thigpen. You can connect directly with me around the Make Technology Work For You sessions we have here on Wednesday, as well as get other updates as far as tech advice, suggestions, and discussions that we'll have around technology. If you want to send me an email, you can do that at info@justrightechnology.com. That's info@justrightechnology.com. What I will ask from anybody that's out there, if you can not only share but post this next link, I'd appreciate it, because like I said, it mentions a little bit of my story as far as how I got into education and some of my IT background. And it also speaks to some of the things that I'm really interested at bringing to fruition in 2019 which is a more provocative approach at teaching computer science to children of color. So that is bit.ly/Coach J Thig. That is bit.ly/Coach J Thig. COACHJTHIG. Use the term coach because in this program in particular that the article is talking about, that's what we're called. We're not called instructors or teachers. We're called coaches. So in that space, I'm known as Coach Jason. So I just put that little hook in that Bitly link for you. But definitely, please check out the article, post it, share it if you will. I'd appreciate it. It is an opportunity for me not only to get a spotlight on the work that I do, but also my business. Right? It's important that we all make that a formative part of our activity as far as business is concerned, making sure that you're not just doing all the things around keeping your business up and running, but making sure that you're continuing to grab people's attention around your business, right? So I would appreciate it if you did that. I'm looking on the different channels. We are live on Instagram. We are live on YouTube as well as Facebook Live, right? If you look for either on Facebook, you should look for Just Right Technology. We have a page that you can follow. On YouTube, this channel is actually in my name, so you would need to look up Jason Thigpen. And then on Instagram, you can look up the handle jthig57. jthig57. That is my Instagram handle, or you can also search Just Right Technology and it should come up. But every Wednesday, those are the 3 feeds that we run live, and we hope to continue the ball rolling. Hope to get some folks in here asking some questions and get some questions answered live on air so that we can get a sneak peek at what that may look like. Otherwise, that's all I have for you guys today on this February 27th. We spoke about attention, and I shared with you latest article about my work in computer science at the link bit.ly/Coach J Thig. All right, guys. Peace and blessing.